What's up, guys? I'm just out here. It's a little after 11 o'clock p.m. doing some door dashing and doing some reflecting. And I'm thinking about you guys, you know, my viewers on my specific viewers on my YouTube channel, and how, you know, my views have been going down and stuff like that because I have a lot of unpopular messages or opinions. I'm waiting on the next DoorDash. Like I said, I'm door dashing, so if it makes that noise, then I'm gonna go. A little DoorDash thing, but it's real slow tonight. It's Tuesday. But you guys know me. If you don't, you know, I started off, you know, stacking a lot of precious metals, gold and silver, and I still stack silver. Mostly the vintage kind, the stuff that they're not making anymore. That's the ones I like. But then I moved on to Bitcoin because I believe it's the future. And, you know, I like to consider myself kind of like a farmer. You know, I don't want to try to convince you of anything. I think I have tried, or maybe it came across that I was doing. I sometimes pressure people because I care so much about, you know, the things that I'm passionate about and the things that I know about. And I just want them to do it, not because I'm doing it, because I believe it's the right thing to do. And that may be the wrong approach. But I want to try to be, if I'm not already, I want to try to be a farmer, and I want to plant a seed in you. You know, I've been making a lot of different decisions and changes in my life and stuff like that. And especially with my diet, I've been learning a lot of stuff, man. You know, it ain't just about money, man. Money and food go hand in hand, man. Green is bad. The green money is bad, and the green food is bad. I think I'll make a video about that. But I want to plant a seed inside of you guys. And my goal on this channel is I'm talking to two different people, right? Mostly I'm talking to precious metal stackers. Probably 90-something% of you, and the rest of you that do stack Bitcoin, you already know. But there's a couple of you that may not have any precious metals that run across my channel. But the precious metal stackers and the people that don't have Bitcoin or precious metals, the very small percentage of you, I'm trying to plant a seed inside of you about Bitcoin, you know, because I remember where I was at before I started stacking it. And luckily for me, I only started stacking silver and gold in the summer of 2020. So I was awakening, or woken up, not woke, but awakened at that time about how I was lied to about the financial system, the money system. I went to school for finance, and I didn't even know about all this stuff. You know, I knew about inflation and stuff like that, but I didn't really understand what it was until I saw that Mike Maloney video talking about inflation. And that was embarrassing for a 45-year-old man at the time to learn that. And I felt really, really stupid. So I've been deep diving in it. And I thought, when I came across gold, I just thought that was it. And then silver, platinum, and all of those stuff. And it is great in comparison to the fiat currency. But once I started hearing about Bitcoin, because once you get into gold and silver and start looking up things about fiat currencies and debasement of the money and all this other stuff, you're going to start running across Bitcoin videos. And I used to skip them, man. I used to think they were stupid and dumb because I just thought it was cryptocurrencies, and I didn't know any better. But now, since I've learned what I've learned, man, I'm doing everything I can to get as many Satoshis as I can. You know, and if you don't know what a Satoshi is, it's a division of a Bitcoin. So it's like you take 100 pennies, make $1. 100 million Satoshis make a Bitcoin. And right now, for every dollar that I make out here in DoorDash, I'm getting 3,000 plus Satoshis. And I'm very proud of that, man. I'm very proud that I know about Bitcoin, and I'm one of the 0.5% of people in the world that are stacking it early because I believe in it. I do. And again, Bitcoin is only going to do one or two things, in my opinion. It's either going to go to zero, it's going to take over the world in more ways than one. But when I made that video the other day, when I talked about what percentage of the wealth do you own, you know, when you buy a gold coin or a silver coin, just a generic whatever, or an American Eagle, gold, silver, whatever, you know, they're making those every single day. But compared to fiat currencies, it's definitely harder to get a gold or silver coin, or hard to make, than it is a you know, fiat currency dollar, obviously. Even the paper dollars, but just, you know, the ones you print on the screen is just nothing. I mean, it's just so easy to do it. But what I love about gold and silver when I first got it, it was just so hard to get. You know, it was just so hard to make. But then when you deep dive into it and just really look at a gold or a silver American Eagle, they're making those all the time. They're just making them and making them and making them. And I started realizing something when I was, you know, looking at American Eagles. I was like, wow, man, you know, silver in particular. I was like, why are these so much? You know, I don't think the supply is low of them. Why am I paying more per ounce than I am for a constitutional silver ounce? They're not making any more constitutional silver, last time I checked. They stopped making it in 1964. It's got U.S. historic value to it, in my opinion. I believe it's got some intrinsic value for the silver, and I also think it has the value of kind of like a collectible. You know what I mean? And I just fell in love with constitutional silver because I felt like it was a harder money than gold or silver as far as like regular coins. I know there's hard gold too. There's rare gold, I know that, and constitutional gold. That's very expensive. But I had to ask myself, you know, what percentage, because every time I buy constitutional silver, I know that a lot of them, like I said, they're not being made anymore, of course, but a lot of them were melted and smelted. So I have a percentage of that money that I bought, of that mercury dime, that one mercury dime of that particular year. There's only a certain amount of them. So I have a percentage of those. And I know for a fact that they can't debase them because they can't make them anymore. And that was very interesting to me, you know. And while I was stacking Bitcoin and I was, you know, getting into it and stuff, I just had a eureka moment, like, wow, man, you know, when I had Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, I'm just like, wow, wait a minute. Bitcoin only has 21 million, you know, among many other qualities it has, which is way better than the other cryptocurrencies. I'm just like, wow, it's a finite supply. And I'm like, okay, 100 million in every Bitcoin, huh? And I'm getting how many Satoshis for every dollar or every 10 bucks? And then I had to look, I said, wow, I'm getting a percentage of the wealth, and they can't debase it because they can't make any more of this protocol, of this network. And it's the first time in history, and I'll get back to that in a second, that I can actually own my money by just knowing something, right? I can carry my wealth in my head. I know my 12 or 24 word key phrase. I know that in my head. And I don't have to have that little ledger or cold card or Trezor or nothing like that. That's just a gateway to put the code in. I can go overseas and buy another one with my code in my head. And I think about this quite often. If I have to run or go somewhere, you know, I got a lot of stuff, man, and I got some heavy ass silver. How am I going to transfer that wealth somewhere? You know, then I think about where I store my silver. Do I store it at home? Do I store it on a storage unit? Because I don't want to make my house, a honeypot where somebody comes and goes, well, I can just get all this silver from this guy. And, you know, if I'm not home, or they just get through all the layers of security I have because it's laying right there. But with Bitcoin, even if they find my ledger or my Trezor or cold card or whatever, they can't do nothing with it because my money is everywhere, right? It's in the ether, it's in the blockchain. And I have a little piece of that blockchain with 12 or 24 words in my head. And when I think about the way technology is going, and I'm just like, wow, man, I just never seen anything like this. And every time I buy Bitcoin every single day, man. I sold those maple leafs. Got some good money for them too. I got 334 bucks for a few ounces of them. They gave me a pretty good price. I had some decent looking ones. And I took 320 of it. I kept 14 bucks in, just for some gas or something. I just put the 14 bucks in. I took the 320, I put it in my bank account, and I got over 1 million Satoshis for 320 bucks. I replaced, or I traded a dying currency that because again, my $320, I have to ask myself, what percentage do I own of that particular money supply, of that US dollar? What percent is that $320 of the money supply? I don't know what the money supply is. I don't know how many US dollars there are physically. I don't know how many there are on a screen. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. But one thing I do know is they're printing more every single day, whether they're pressing a button or printing it out on the printer up there in DC and the Fed in New York. But when I bought that million Satoshis, over 1 million Satoshis, I asked myself, well, what percentage of Satoshis do I have? And I do have a percentage. But the thing is, because I know there's only 21 million or 15 million or 16 million, because a few million have been lost because people lost their keys or died or whatever. So however many Satoshis are in each of those Bitcoin times 21 or 16 or whatever, it's a big number, of course. But I do own a percentage. That million Satoshis is a percentage, and it's a solid percentage. But the opposite, or antithesis, or the opposite, antithesis, I forgot the word, of the US dollar is my Satoshis are going up, because not only is the supply capped and limited, but we're losing Bitcoin when people have it on their phone and they miss out their code, or somebody dies and doesn't pass on their Bitcoin or whatever. And we salute to those people, because they're doing the opposite of what the government's doing. They're losing Bitcoin. They're taking Bitcoin out of the system versus putting more money into the system. And when I think about that, I know one day my great-great-grandkids are going to look and go, wow, my grandfather or my great-great-grandfather used to buy these Satoshis. I don't know what the Satoshis are going to buy in the future. I don't know if I'm going to live to see a full Bitcoin standard, but I know it's coming. People ask me, how do I know Bitcoin's going to last? How do I know the government's not going to stop it? It's like asking if the Bitcoin, or if the government can stop calculus. It's just a formula. But anyways, guys, I love each and every one of you. Remember, when you buy something, no matter what it is, I don't care if it's gold, silver, platinum, whatever you like, look at it. But remember, ask yourself when you buy it, what percent of that money supply do you own? All right? I love each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love, guys.